The whole idea behind this is to make housing much more affordable, and where better to do it in somewhere that is just ridiculously unaffordable in Oxford.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Now, my next guest, I'm really looking forward to finding out a lot more about this, is Fran Ryan from the Oxfordshire Community Land Trust. Good morning, Fran. How are you?
I'm very fine on this misty morning, and it's lovely to hear your music. Thank you.
That's quite all right. As we mentioned when we were just chatting before we came on to air, sometimes it can set you up for the day, can't it? If you hear a really nice tune and you're like, oh yeah, I'm up for this one, or it can put you in a nightmarishly bad mood. But there we go. We've started on a good footing. Fran, for people that don't know, please tell us a little bit more about the Oxfordshire Community Land Trust, because it is a fantastic initiative.
Thank you. It is. And thanks for having me on to tell you about it. So community land trusts are organisations that are owned by their own community, and they basically take land and homes into community ownership for the benefit of that community. And Oxfordshire Community Land Trust has been around since 2006, and we're just building our first project of 8 permanently affordable apartments in Dean Court in the parish of Cumnor.
It's absolutely
very exciting. Yeah,
they're absolutely fantastic, and the whole idea behind this is to make housing much more affordable, and where better to do it in somewhere that is just ridiculously unaffordable in Oxford.
Well, Oxford City is actually, I think the ratio in Oxford City is that average house prices are 15 times more than average wages. And in the city and also in the county, because actually our little apartments are not actually in the city, they're actually in Vale of Whitehorse District Council, but actually the problems there are just as significant. And people across the county, people can't afford to live there who work on sort of low wages. So we've got a crisis in the caring community, as we know. There aren't enough care workers, there aren't enough retail workers, there aren't enough hospitality workers. Transport also struggles to find the drivers to drive our buses. So all of these people who keep things going, who keep the wheels turning, find it really difficult to live affordably. And okay, eight apartments, that's pretty small, but it's a fantastic start. And the 8 families who will live there will make a real difference to their lives. And I can tell you more about that in a minute.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I say, it's as we've learned over the last few years, these key workers are vitally important, and they need to be near where they are working. And like you say, if it's unaffordable, it's just not happening. But just explain sort of how people can kind of get involved in this, because it is community led as well, and that's a really interesting aspect of it.
Yeah. So basically, the organisation is run by its members, and so anyone can join for £1. And I'm encouraging anyone who's out there who cares about this to join us for £1. The other thing that we're doing at the moment is that we are raising some community finance to support this project, and that community finance is a share offer, and the share offer is people can invest a minimum of £250. Now, that is a lot for some people, which is why we're saying, if you haven't got 250, well, join us for £1. But if there are people out there who have £250, please could they sign up, become part of this movement, and help us fund the project. The idea is that instead of having 1.2 million mortgage from the Ecology Building Society, the community would be taking on some of that mortgage finance, and they would be lending us money at a lower rate than the Ecology Building Society. And Ecology are wonderful, and they are totally up for us sharing the financing with the local community. So I'm really on to say to people, please join us and help finance this exciting project, which in turn will help us to do more.
Yeah, exactly, and you mentioned as well that this is the first of hopefully many houses and accommodations, and you also alluded to the people that are going to be in these houses. Just to explain a little bit more about who they are and what's going on there.
Okay, so we don't know who they are yet, but we do know what criteria they have to meet in order to apply. And I said before that this is in Vale of Whitehorse District Council, and Vale have actually been incredibly generous, and they've already funded the project from their Section 106 monies, and the Future Oxfordshire Partnership have also helped fund it. So they put in a huge amount of grant funding, almost £1 million, and that's really why we can do this affordably. So the people who can apply to live here are, first of all, people who are on Vale's housing register. So to apply for one of these gorgeous apartments, you have to actually be in housing need and registered with Vale of Whitehorse District Council. Secondly, you have to have a local connection, and that means you have to have lived or worked in the Cumnor Dean Court area in the last 5 to 10 years. You'd need to look that up in detail because I haven't got the detail in my head right now, and it's probably too long anyway.
Sure.
And the third thing, which is really important as well, is that people have to be willing to join a tenant co-op. So we are going to be advertising before Christmas, and we are going to be requiring anyone who's interested in living in one of these apartments to join a training program in February. And they will have to have done the training program, which is not going to be incredibly arduous, but really vital. They will have to have completed that successfully to be able to get one of the apartments, because we want the tenant co-op to run really well. And it's all part of also running housing differently and helping people to have their own permanently affordable, secure place to live.
No, it's fantastic. And what I've learned sort of by being at the front of Get Radio for the last couple of years, that word community is never so strong as it is in Oxford and Oxfordshire as well. And what you're doing with this, Fran, for the community that live here is absolutely fantastic. I wish you the best of luck with it all, of course. Where can people find out a little bit more information about it if they're kind of their ears have been pricked up by the radio to find out a little bit more about the Oxfordshire Land Trust?
So we have a website, so it's www.oclt.org.uk, and if you go /Crofts-Court, which is the name of our development, that will take you to everything about the Crofts Court development. And if you want to invest, you can go straight to the ethics platform. So just go, that's www.ethics.org, I think. And if you just page down, you will find the offer that's associated with this particular project. And also you can see a little film of the project, which will tell you a little bit more about it.
No, fantastic. Well, it's been a real insight. I'm always excited and buzzed up by new and brilliant things that are helping the community out, and this is certainly one such thing. Fran Ryan, thank you so much for joining me this morning.